Hi, I'm Tom Lydon, editor of ETF Trends here in Chicago at the Morningstar ETF Conference. And I'm here with Kevin Carter, one of the founders of EMQQ, which is one of the most innovative ETFs we've come across in a while. Tell us about EMQQ.
Well, EMQQ is an emerging markets internet ETF. So emerging markets are 85% of the world's population, and these are the internet companies that are serving Asia, South America, India, Africa, etc. So the Google of China, if you will, and the Amazon of Brazil, those types of companies.
So here in the U.S., there are a few internet-related ETFs, but this is really focused on emerging markets. These are companies that are really emerging, correct?
This is where the growth is.
Yeah.
This is where the growth is in emerging markets. So most people that know emerging markets know that the real story is about the growth of the consumer. You have billions of people that are moving on up and joining the consumption class, and they want stuff, the same sort of stuff we want. They want better shoes, they want a toaster, they want a smartphone, a television, an automobile. But just as the internet has changed our consumption patterns, this great wave of consumers in emerging markets is now consuming on a smartphone. And it's basically consumption's growing at 8% in emerging markets, but e-commerce is growing at close to 40%. So it's, I think, the greatest growth story of our lifetime.
So will there be some names that we'll know that might be within this index, and some names that we wouldn't know?
Sure. Well, most people know Alibaba.
Yeah.
It's the largest IPO in U.S. history.
Yeah.
Baidu, the Google of China. But then there's some other ones that people may not know as well. So, for example, Mercado Libre, which also trades in the United States, is the Latin American leader in e-commerce and payments. There are the Craigslist of China is a company called Wuba, 58.com, trades on the New York Stock Exchange. And one of the reasons I made EMQQ is because the vast majority of these companies are not included in the large, index-based ETFs. The Vanguard ETF, for example, which is the largest, that owns companies like Petrobras, state-owned enterprises with a lot of corruption. And if you read the newspapers, you've seen that the whole country of Brazil is reeling from a bunch of kickbacks and schemes. The president's gone. There's soccer players in prison. There's leading investment bankers going to prison. Those companies dominate the big indexes, but the Alibabas and the Baidus don't get included because they choose to list on our exchanges.
Yeah.
So, and that's bothered, from the first time I showed up in the emerging markets in China investing. I remember going down the list of Chinese companies, and I got to the bottom and I said, well, where's Baidu? And the index people said, well, we don't include that. It trades in the US. It's not really a Chinese company to us. And that sort of bothered me, and that's the reason I made EMQQ. You have this huge part of the world's population. They're coming up in the world. They're consuming more, and most of these great entrepreneurial growth companies, these internet companies, are not in the index.
Yeah.
So EMQQ gives you that.
How many companies are in the index?
There's 45 companies.
45.
45.
And is there any more in the Asian area or more in Latin America?
Sure.
How would you...
Well, the largest piece is Asia and China. And China's got the world's largest population. It's got the world's most developed internet market, most advanced mobile market, but it's spreading.
Yeah.
So India right now is the hottest part of the world for e-commerce. It's the fastest growing major economy now. It'll grow faster than China this year, but the internet market there is really booming, and it's in its early stages. And as an example of that, the people in the rest of the world are getting the internet for the first time on a smartphone. There's no cable running around India. There's no cable in Nigeria. So with broadband wireless, cheap smartphones getting in the hands of these consumers is feeding this great growth story. In India, which has about 1.3 billion population, there's 1 billion phones out in the market, but only 150 million smartphones. So there's a massive upgrade cycle going on in India.
So 10% of the phones are the only ones that can get internet access, the other 90% don't?
That's right. They have the old school traditional flip phones.
Unbelievable.
So
huge room for growth.
Huge room for growth, and in fact, the internet market in India, the entire market's still growing at about 100%, and will grow at over 50% for several years now. And you see this with Google's over there, Apple's over there a lot. You see Tim Cook was just made a trip through India. So people, the venture investors understand what's going on there. It's clearly the place that's going to have the highest growth rate as an economy, but certainly on the internet and e-commerce side.
We've got a webcast coming up. We're going to talk more about it.
Yes.
But it's great to talk to the ETF Trends subscribers and viewers about EMQQ. Look forward to talking more to you about that. Thanks,
I look
Kevin.
forward to it too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take care.